get started. I see Doug just joined us and Todd just joined us. Anthony's on and also Cannon. Did I say hi to Jamie yet? Jamie, hi. Welcome. A lot of us here. So this is awesome. Thank you. We tried to do this in the boardroom a year and a half ago or 2 years ago. I don't remember how long it's been, but we tried to do this kind of a thing where I basically just demoed the features of Excel Power Query. But what I decided was that didn't work really well. What I wanted to do immediately thereafter was set up some sort of a lab where we could meet and use computers and follow along, because in my opinion that's the best way to learn something, and that's to kind of do it as we're going. So Teams came along, and I think this is just a theory, but I think this is as good as, or maybe even better than, setting up a lab. So I hope that we can all follow along as I'm going, and I'll go as fast or as slow as I need to, so that everybody gets benefit from this. So it tells me I have to make sure everybody knows that we're recording this. So I thought I said it, but okay, we're recording this, everybody. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start. So follow along with me. I'm going to share my screen. And what I intend to do today is I'm going to open up that CSV file, the adj.csv file in Excel. I'm going to first do it the traditional method, and then I'm going to manipulate it a little bit, and just using standard Excel features. And then I'm going to show you how powerful Power Query is, and how using the traditional method is going to become obsolete for you all. So I hope I can explain those the coolest features. I think, to me, that this is going to be it's fairly simple, but it's really going to save a lot of time if you traditionally open a CSV file in your day-to-day. So this that I'm going to show you today should be really a time saver for you. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right now. So everybody should have, I would say, start by browsing to your download folder. So can everybody see my screen okay?
Yeah.
All right. How about you clear over at Easton, Brent? Can you see?
I can.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. So let me minimize this. So I'm going to start, and we're just going to double click this adj.csv file, which will open Excel. And let me explain what this is. This is basically a report that you can run from Manage 2000. It's called the adj.detail. It's the function that you would run to get this result, or this CSV file. And I ran it, and the date parameters are the entire month of August. So that's what this file is. And rather than going through that step, I just have this file ready to go and sent it out to everybody. So this is what we get. We get several hundred rows, a couple hundred rows of data that has headers and, up to Q number of columns.
Hey, Brent, if you could maximize that, it would be easier to see more of the detail. It's pretty small on my screen anyways.
Okay.
Or even magnify that a little bit more there too. I don't know if that's what we need to do.
Brent, I think most of us are on 17-inch monitors, so those are about 6 pixels tall right now.
Is this any better?
It is for me.
Yeah, that looks good.
All right. So also tell me if you're following along, which I hope you're doing. If you aren't able to follow along, you get stuck. If I'm moving on too fast, just let me know and I'll slow down. I hope this is only about 30 to 45 minutes. So, and that's even with going slow. So please feel free to interrupt me. I think it's really important that you get the hands-on with this. And so feel free to just interrupt if you get behind. And we'll wait. So this is the adj.csv file, the result of running the function in M2K called adj.detail. It goes to the download folder. So I know that you all with experience using Manage 2000 have used the download folder. So yeah, it's just the default for most of our reports that are downloadable. So typically what we would do, we would run through this report and do some manipulation of the data. Right now, you can see I just highlighted row 38 of column E, and you see this part number is only 5 digits long. That's because it has a leading 0. And when you open up a CSV file in Excel, it wants to treat this column as a number. And Brent, you won't have that issue over there because you have the facility code after your part numbers. But over here, we don't use the facility code. And so this actual part number is 084429. It basically dropped the 0. So what we do over here is typically we would need to format this column and click on the custom and then select that 0 and then just put in 5 additional zeros. That will format it. So we moved to 7-digit part numbers when we ran out of 6-digit unique part numbers. So we eliminated the leading 0 in our 7-digit numbers. So all of our part numbers that would have leading zeros would only be 6 digits long. So when we format it, this is the format, and it's just 6 zeros. And what that will do when I click OK is put that leading 0 in there properly. Okay, so that's one of the things that we get to do. Also, columns L, M, and N are all zeros. So this is an example, and the reason I want to show you this, I mean, this is a perfect little CSV file because so almost every file that we download from Manage 2000, there's going to be something that might not be necessary completely for our purposes. And these 3 columns are definitely not giving us anything. So typically, one of the things that we would do is eliminate these. So you can highlight all those and right click and choose delete. And that will delete those files or those columns. Now, what I want to do next is I'm going to insert a column between column M and column N, and you can do this wherever you want, but I'm going to make a formula that's basically going to, and this is maybe not really a real life example of what you would do, but what I'm going to do is get the per item cost of this particular transaction, and I'm going to make it an absolute value. So long story short, I'm going to insert a column right there. So you can right click on the O and choose insert. And then I'm going to, let's see, per item, and then whatever. Name your column heading. And then I'm just going to do a simple little formula at equals abs. And I'm going to take column L, or the value in L, and divide it by the quantity. And then hit enter. And then I don't know how many people know this fun trick in Excel, but you can highlight that to copy this formula all the way down. You highlight it and then double click the bottom right corner, and it will push all those formulas down to the bottom. One caveat is that if there's a missing row of information or something in here, it will stop at the right before that missing row. This is all no missing rows from top to bottom. All right, so in the real world, these might be some of the things that you would do with your CSV file. So every time you're interested in getting a report on Manage 2000, if it's downloadable and you do anything with Excel, this is typically probably something that maybe the steps that you would do to that data. Okay, one other thing I'm going to do is go to the bottom of this new column, and I'm going to do an auto sum to summarize. So there you go. Now, this is all well and good, but when next month rolls around and you run it again, you're going to have to do the same stuff all over again. Let me show you how with Power Query we can eliminate all this. So is everybody okay for me to move on to the next step? If you're not okay, say no, I'm not okay. Okay. Can you still see me on the screen? Because I've got a product placement that I wanted to
yeah, we can see it.
Okay, so this is product placement. Anyway, all right. Okay, so we'll close this. And then let's open up a new Excel spreadsheet. Just a blank one for now. And I'll make it bigger again. All right, now, this is something different. This, as you noticed, I didn't double click in Windows Explorer on the file that I want to get. But now I'm going to retrieve that same file a different way using the features of Power Query. And to do that, you click this Data tab, and these are the options. So without going into very many details, you can now get data from many different sources in Excel. And what we're going to do is get from a CSV or a text file. So click from text/CSV. And hopefully everybody sees this. I know that sometimes your menus look a little bit different than mine, that I would have mine set up. If you don't have this, there might be a drop down here, get data icon, where you could select from file and then text .csv. That's another way to get there. And I'll just go ahead and select that. And I'll browse to my download folder. And I'm going to get that adj.csv file. And choose import. All right, now you'll notice something different when you do that, and that is this. Hopefully you can see this. I can't really expand it as far as the text goes. But what you see here is the Power Query is taking over on this, and this is what happens when you get the data using that method that I just showed you. You can see it's the same data, but it gives you some more options down here. And for the purposes of this demonstration, I'll just mention that if you click this transform data, it will open Power Query. But I'm going to go ahead and click load. We'll open Power Query a little bit later. I'm going to go ahead and click load, and that will be that will load it into Excel. I'm not sure why my. All right, so hopefully everybody can see that now. I did have to expand the size a little bit, but one of the things you'll first notice is that it makes it into a table. And when I don't know, hopefully everybody understands what the table is. It's basically this formatting that you see. On my screen, it's green. On yours, it might be something different, but green and white alternating rows. And it also gives you, in the headings, it will give you these drop downs, which, as you might recognize them as like when you set filtering on your data, that you see these drop downs, so you can manipulate this column different ways, sorting, filtering, and then searching and things like that. So that's one of the things that Power Query has done to this data when you open it. So you can see right here that this is the same part number that we changed before with leading 0. Let's not worry about that right now. I'll show you how to make that change inside of Power Query. All right, so if everybody will click on their data menu option. Did everybody get to the far right column, the queries and connections panel came up?
I got that.
All right, if you didn't get it, holler. Otherwise, let's keep moving on. So in order to get into Power Query and manipulate this table of data, you see where it's highlighted, the ADJ, and it says 310 rows loaded. You can right click on that and choose edit, or you can just hover your mouse over it, move it over to here and choose edit. There's a couple of different ways to get in there. So however you feel like you want to do it. And so when you edit, here is the Power Query menu. And I'm sorry, but it looks, you probably are going to have trouble reading this one. I don't know how to make this any larger as far as the text is concerned. Maybe.
You could drop your monitor resolution down that you're sharing your screen on.
I can't do that.
Oh.
I'm just teasing. All right, let me do that. That's a good idea. All right, this is horrible for me, but if it's better for you, then I'm happy. Oh, silly me. Sorry, it went back. I forgot to click keep changes. All right, so that should be better for you. Let me drop this magnifying down to a reasonable level. Okay. All right, so back to the Power Query. So we get into the data set by right-clicking on there and choosing Edit, and up comes the Power Query editor. And this is where the magic happens. As you will, so the first thing I want to do is show you how to manipulate that part number. And without going into too much detail, I will tell you that the Power Query itself has already performed some data manipulation on this data set, and we can reverse that a little bit for however we want to. Okay. So everything you do in Power Query, you can see over to the right, there's a section called Applied Steps. And everything that has happened to this set of data is here in these steps. If you click on the source step and you look up in here, can everybody see the formula bar on their version? If you can't see the formula bar, go to the view menu up here and choose formula bar. So again, if everybody is up to speed, I'm going to go ahead or up with me, I'm going to go ahead and proceed. But if you're not, please let me know and I'll stop. So as I was saying, all these applied steps are right over here on the right. So step one was bring in this download file or file from the download folder. Step two was what they call promoted headers. So the first column or the first row in that data was these column headings. So what Power Query did was promoted those, the first row, to become headers. And now it changed types. So it tries to recognize the data and it will type it. If you look at this quantity column, you can see that this 1, 2, 3 in here, that means it's a number. The description column, ABC, is a text. And this part number, it thinks it's a number, but we want it to have leading zeros. So we have to treat it as text. So what we can do is go up to this. So we're on this applied step right here, the changed type, and we're going to take out the step where it assumed that the part number was going to be text. We basically just edit that out. When you hit enter, you'll see that the part number now moves, it aligns to the left column, and that particular part number that we messed with before now has a leading zero. All right. Okay, so that's the first thing we're going to do. The next thing we're going to do is eliminate those same 3 columns that we eliminated before. So if you scroll over and find the freight, material burden, and variable burden amount or columns, you can do the same thing. You click the header, hold down your control key, click the next header, and click the next header. And you can either use this menu option up here that says remove columns, or you can just hit your delete key and they'll go away. Now you'll also see that there's another step that has been applied, remove columns. Okay, and this it will make sense later when I explain how cool this feature is over here with these applied steps. Okay, so next step is let's create a formula like we did before. So we're gonna, it doesn't really matter where you are in this, but you can move you can select whatever column you want.
Hey Brent,
yeah.
Hey Brent, real quick, is there an undo button?
There sure is. So if you remove the wrong columns, click this X. And there you go. Those columns are back.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Yep. And just so I don't forget to say this later, if you wanted to move a step around, you could actually drag and drop this. So there may be 10 steps in this eventually. You could take one from step 7 or whatever and move it up to step 3 if you wanted to. So it's pretty cool. And that might not, you may not, I mean, I've had to do that a couple times, but and you may not ever have to do that, but just I wanted to make sure you knew that was a feature. All right, so we're gonna go up to this add column menu and we're gonna click custom column. And we can name it whatever we want. And down here in the formula, we're just going to type in, and it's a little bit more complicated than the Excel functions, but let me just tell you, there are many, many more functions in Power Query than in Excel. So, and one thing you have to know is it has to be uppercase, or it's case sensitive. So this formula only works when you have a capital N and capital A. And it's smart enough to know that there are different columns that it's acting on. And what you want is quantity. So you can either type it out or double click that when it comes up. Okay. So right token. Oh, yep. Sorry, I didn't put my right parenthesis in there. It will tell you down here at the bottom if there's something wrong with it, and I also missed that one. So down here at the bottom, it will notify you of any errors that you have. So once I click OK, I will now have this new column over here. So I can drag that to here if I want, put it in the same place we put it before. Just click and hold and drag. All right. Now the next thing we're going to do is I'll show you how to apply a filter right in here. Really simple. Let's go over to the just reason column, the third one from the left. and just randomly pick whatever filters you would like to see here. And I like anything that starts with a C and anything that starts with a Q. And once you've done that, click back on the Home tab and choose Close and Load.
Hey, Brent, I have an error I made.
Okay.
Can you help me get out of it? When I typed in the formula, I did not capitalize N in number.abs. It says it wasn't recognized. Make sure it's spelled correctly. The problem is I can't exit out of my error. How do I exit out of my error code and get back into my custom column?
Do you see recorded columns over here in your applied steps?
Applied steps, I do not have recorded columns. Because it won't give it to me because I did not capitalize my N in number.
Oh, did you, so you don't have a new column then? You didn't get to that point where there's errors or anything like that?
Right, so I've gone back to quickly catch back up. I went into add column and it won't do anything because I'm still locked in my code, in my expression error. So how do I just exit? How do I exit an expression error?
Let me get back to this. So at any given time, you can also go, well, not for every step, but you can click this little cog over here and get back into where you were. So you're right here. You have the custom column screen open. Is that right?
No, because it's errored out, but I can go back into one step back, delete out, and catch back up. Got it. Thanks.
Yep. Are you okay to keep going then?
Oh yeah,
Ryan?
I'll catch up.
All right. All right. So, all right. Close and load. All right. Now, there we are. So we've got a filter. We've got a new column. We have changed the part number so that it has, we filtered it out, but anything that had a leading zero would have showed up here as proper with 6 digits and a leading zero. All right. Now, if you want to know why this is so relevant, if you remember back when we were messing with the CSV file just inside of Excel and we did all the same steps, every time that you reran that file or reran that report and got that CSV file, you'd have to go through those same steps every time. Now that we've, oh my goodness. Now that we have created this inside of Power Query, I want to demonstrate what it's like to, or what the benefit is of having done all the Power Query stuff. So get back into, so don't close your spreadsheet. Keep that, this one open. And what we're going to do is we're going to pretend that we reran this detail or adj.detail report for July. So right click on this adj.csv file and delete it out of your download folder. And then we're going to rename this July. And just for fun, I'll show you that this July file is definitely different than the August file. And of course, let's see, where are we? So yeah, this is kind of the raw data, but you can see these dates right here. This is July. We would have seen them anyway when I opened it up, but anyway, so rename that july.adj file to just adj.csv. Okay, once you do that, go back to your spreadsheet. And click this refresh all button on your data menu. And voila, there it is with the new data. And that took what, 10 seconds to refresh or less, rather than having to go through and do all the manipulation to that CSV file every month. It was just a matter of just opening it up, or actually it was just a matter of refreshing it. So what we simulated was rerunning the report in M2K, and M2K producing that new adj.csv file. Now, the important thing is that it has to be named the same all the time, and that particular report, you can't manipulate the name. So in this case, it's going to work. So it has to be in the download folder and in the same name, but otherwise, every time you rerun that report, it will give you new data, and this spreadsheet, you can save it if you would like, and then when you open up the spreadsheet, all the custom work that you did on that data is there. One of the other things that is.
So Brent, real quick, sorry, this is Todd. So take us through that again. So we had the adj.csv. You made your manipulations. You're saving it back over adj.csv, or are you changing it a different name? You're saving it's the same name, right?
Same name.
Okay.
Yep. Once you open that up in Power Query, once you do the data and get data, it's basically linking to that file. So it's expecting that same file every time. So if we go back in there and look at this source, this is what it's looking at. So no matter what happens on your download folder, adj.csv, it's gonna take that data and do everything that it's done here to it.
Hey, Brent, I have a similar question. I missed where you said how to, I'd say, execute the requery file. I've renamed July. I've deleted the other ADJ. I've got my edited file of the original data still open. How do I go requery the data?
Go to the data menu, click refresh, refresh all.
Oh, that works. Okay.
Yeah, refresh is vital to this kind of thing. Although, suppose we had saved that spreadsheet out here after all this Power Query manipulation was done. If we saved it somewhere, you definitely wouldn't want to save it as CSV or adj.csv. It'd be a regular Excel file that you would save it. But the next time you brought it up, next time you opened it, and if that CSV file had been changed, I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think it would refresh automatically using the new data from this CSV file. If it doesn't refresh, then it's just a matter of clicking this button. I forgot to mention that this table, this is you can right click anywhere in the data and go down to the table menu and select totals row, and then go down here. Remember how I did the sum all? Can't remember what that one was called. But anyway, you can click here. Oops, I turned off the totals just now. Okay, so now if you right click, choose table, and then totals row, it will give you the option to manipulate these columns in many different ways. Average, doesn't like. Sum, not sure why that didn't work. anyway, any of these columns can be acted on that way. Min. So that's that. And I hope everybody saw the benefit of doing it this way rather than the old way. I honestly believe if this is something that you do in your job day to day, manipulating those CSV files, and that data does change often, that if you did this, then you could save a lot of time. So the next time, I think I want to get into a little bit more of the advanced stuff, maybe not too much, but one of the things that I was thinking about going over is, so this is the login account that did the adjustment. If you don't know who these people are, you could get a list of logins with their full names, and you could either do a VLOOKUP, or I could show you how to join it, and that's a term that you'll get familiar with, possibly. You would join this bit of data to a table that has the username, or the logon and the username, and then it would be constant. And anytime we add users or whatever, it would be there. So anyway, this is about the time that I wanted to end. This is the maximum 45 minutes that I wanted to do. So unless anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to stay on and answer questions. But really, that's all I had for today. If anybody has any suggestions also, how to make it work better, I would appreciate those.
So you recorded this this session. Where do we go to find it if we wanted to watch it again and kind of go through it again, just to kind of solidify it for ourselves?
I might have to send you a link to it.
Okay.
I don't know for sure. This is the first time I've ever recorded anything via Teams. So, but I can tell you, if I don't like the way my voice sounds, I'm going to delete the file. So.
No, can't do that.
All right. Well, okay. Thanks, everybody. Feel free to shoot me an email if you have other questions that come up later or whatever. But that's it.
Thanks, Brent. That was great.
Yeah, and
Thanks.
yep, no problem. Thanks, everybody.